Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Creative Marketing Radio, where business is our sport. Today, we're going to get into Tom Brady. We're going to kind of do an analysis of his brand, where he is at in his brand. We're going to kind of use Tom Brady as one of many athletes that we kind of talk about. This is not by any means a bash on any of the players we go about. This is more so a critique from a marketing perspective, what he's doing, his strengths, what his weaknesses are, what he could improve on. Marketing is very subjective. Design is very subjective. So at the end of the day, there could be stuff he's doing from his end that we don't see, and there could be stuff that we see from our end that he doesn't notice. So let's get straight into it. So if you don't know, Tom Brady is the quarterback for the New England Patriots. He's been playing there for a very long time. If you don't know how long he's been playing there, then I would say Google it. It's been at least 9 to 10 years. He is married to a very rich model, makes a little more money than he does actually. But from a business perspective, Tom Brady has done a very good job at developing his own brand. We're going to kind of go into 5 criteria in what his brand is, how he kind of goes about it, and we'll also talk a little bit about rating those 5 different steps, and then at the end we'll kind of rate the overall appearance of his brand and talk a little bit about more how he can improve. So first off, we'll kind of start with how Tom Brady started, what he kind of did, his strengths, and what he kind of used to build a fan base. As the 3-time MVP, NFL MVP, Super Bowl champion, the quarterback, he is one of the most famous athletes in the world. In 2013, Brady created a Facebook page, and this is kind of where he kind of got his first roundabout in his marketing efforts, and created his first social media account and created a Facebook fan page. He then thoughtfully used his presence and leveraged his brand power to build a community of fans, create new content, and promote his projects. And in early 2018, then Brady created a show called Tom vs. Time on Facebook Watch, garnishing more than 50 million views. More than 66% of people who watched a full episode of Tom Brady vs. Time do not follow the New England Patriots or Tom Brady on Facebook, and more than 48% of those do not follow Brady's page nor any official NFL page. So right off the bat, he was able to garnish his brand, slowly start creating a lifestyle brand, and you garnish that the brand power he had on the field, and even bring in a percentage of viewers and fans that aren't actually a Tom Brady or a New England Patriots fan. He's authentic in his creative content. The advantage to being on Facebook as a world-famous athlete include the ability to speak directly to fans in an authentic way, give them access to your everyday life, and provide inspiration for those who look up to you. He then strategically used Facebook to garnish his Instagram page. Now, he then leveraged that page, garnished everyone, and created a group on Facebook, garnished everyone, brought them over to Instagram, created Instagram as a established strategy to kind of build the two. From there, he started really building his TB2 page, which is the Tom Brady's website that he uses to promote his business. Now, let's get into the 5 criteria now and kind of talk about his digital marketing efforts, his branding efforts, and how his brand build is, and kind of rate it. And again, this is not subjective by any means. This is more so just stating. Basically, I'm going to be very critical. I'm very critical from a design perspective. I'm very critical from a content perspective. But we will kind of be able to see what he can improve on and what could help him garnish more more business in the long run. So to start, we're going to talk about his brand and his logo. Again, like I've mentioned in the past, a logo is not is only one portion of a brand. So we'll target the logo a little bit here, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about his TB2 logo. It's iconic in the way that it can, it's simple. It's one color. It doesn't have any sort of complications when it comes to having multiple looks and feels. I can definitely see the TB2 in there and the way it looks from an iconic standpoint. It's definitely memorable in that way that I can kind of see his aha moment, is what we like to say in design, where it's a T, it's a B, and it's a 2, and the B and the 2 kind of relate to each other in that way. But from a standpoint of how it looks in medias. Now, this is a normal design situation that happens quite a bit. Is people create a logo, they develop a logo as part of their brand, and it's if you shrink it down, it's hard to read. So shrinking this logo down to be able to put it on certain media types, business cards, other types of media, it's definitely going to be very hard to read. I say that would probably be the biggest struggle with it. And I also think he tried too soon to not add the name to the end of it. His URL is TB12 Sports. Like I said, you could see the 12 in there. Aha, there's another little moment there. But I didn't know it was TB12 Sports. I didn't know that was the brand. I just saw TB2. I just thought he was going off of the Tom Brady and his number 12 from that perspective. I didn't know the actual company name was TB12 until I actually looked at the URL. So those are kind of things that I would kind of look for. Very small. Those are very small, but they're something that he could definitely improve on when it comes to his logo. His consistency of his colors, his fonts. It looks like he's using multiple fonts in his brand. I see 3 straight off the bat, which is a big no-no. I would probably stick to 2 fonts going through his what I see for his collateral basis. But his colors are very consistent. His call to actions are very consistent. Utilizing that red. And another aha moment there is it's probably the red he brought over from the New England Patriots, and he's really focusing on having that red be his brand color. So it's a good way to transition the lifestyle branding over to a corporate brand. So good job there. All of his collateral is very consistent as well. He sticks with the reds, he sticks with the whites, he sticks with the blacks. So he's very consistent when it comes to how he uses his logo in that aspect, how he uses his logo on his Instagram images, on his Facebook images, and things of that nature. So from a logo perspective and from a brand perspective, I'm going to give his logo a 3 out of 5. Just because in rationale, it's a very, very big one that when I first saw this, I didn't know it stood for TB12 Sports. You can't be a Nike straight off the bat, no matter how much of an influence you have on your audience. So probably sticking to keeping with the TB12 Sports as the whole name until he, or even just TB12 until he is able to get it recognized. Nike, of course, took them years before they started using just the swoosh. So think about it in that perspective. And when it comes to the consistency of how his logo would look on small formats, again, his line strokes and the way that you read it'd be very hard to read on very small collateral pieces. So those 2 aren't too big, but I would say those 2 in itself would drop it down to a 3. Now let's get to his website. So his website, going through his website, you can kind of see the layout is really good. He did a very good job at keeping the colors consistent with his brand, keeping it very consistent with his brand. His imagery is very high resolution. His site runs really fast. Those are all very good things. When it comes to the coding side, the coding seems very good. So It seems like he did put the money into having a good hosting platform, and he had a good developer kind of develop his website or help him with the development process. Now, those are all good things, but user experience is not the same thing as design. And I'm going to keep design on the design and branding side of things, and we're going to focus more on the website in regards to the code. So his code was really good. He didn't really do anything very well with his user experience. When I go to his website, the hardest struggle I have, and as if you all don't know, a website takes about, we'll say it's about a 10-second. People leave within 10 seconds on your website. I have a hard time finding out exactly what he does. I think he did very good at only doing 5 things in the navigation: shop, recovery, performance, nutrition, and hydration, and then his services. But when I come here, I want to come here for a specific thing. And when I look through the user experience of the website, I'm not sure if I'm here to buy products. I'm not sure if I'm here to for recovery, for performance, nutrition. Like, I'm seeing this stuff, but it's not laid out in a way where I feel like I know exactly what I'm looking for and I know exactly how to find it. So from that perspective, and the fact that he's doing multiple small things, he's doing a shop, he's doing recovery, he has performance. There's nothing wrong with having multiple services in hand and selling items on the side, but you need to kind of focus on one overall aspect. Are you an e-commerce store? Are you a service-based company? And then transition to the other one from there, from a website perspective, or do it in a way, the user experience in a way that would really help with people being able to navigate correctly around your website and be able to find you from a funnel aspect. I think he did a good job on his content. All the content I'm reading is pretty good here. We'll dive into a little bit that in the next one, but overall, I would give his website a 2 out of 5. It's very well coded. It has good site speed. It's very consistent with his brand, but I say there's still some gaps there when it comes to the user experience side and really defining exactly what his main source of income is from when it comes to the website, and how to define that and how to really move forward with it. I know that's a little bit of a harsh review. Because it's a pretty well-looked website with well-looked images, but I think a lot of people focus too much on one thing or another. You'll notice if the site is broken. You'll notice the code's broken. If it's broken, you'll notice if the site doesn't look well, but when it looks well, you don't notice. So the benefit of that is it really helps with his brand, and it really helps with what he's trying to do. But overall, I think that his conversion rate's probably a little bit lower than it could be, just because of the fact of the user experience. Third, let's talk about online presence. So his online presence is really what we're going to talk about. From his online presence is paid search and search engine optimization. So from a search engine optimization side, his site ranked for the word Tom Brady, and his name ranked about 6 or 7 underneath a few ESPN articles, which he should be ranking number 1 at this point for his own website and his own name. So that's something to really look into. He doesn't have any paid advertisement. I wasn't able to find any paid advertisement when it comes to coming to his website. I could be wrong on that. But when I searched his website and I searched his name, there was no sort of advertisement for any of his services, anything like that. He has no local SEO going on. I didn't see any information on his services and his location. If you go under a services section, you will find TB12 Foxborough, which is his facility that he uses for longevity and recovery and things of that nature. But there's no local SEO. I don't think that anytime you search it, there wasn't any Google listing. There wasn't the content on his website's well written, but it's not well written from an SEO perspective. And that comes back to the user experience. If your user experience is done well with your website, then these are all things that you do with the keyword research and finding the right keywords that work really well with what you're trying to do. Number 4, I would say his social media presence. So his social media presence is probably a one-off of the online presence, but the social media I take a little bit differently because paid search and search engine optimization are made to for when people are looking to find you, where Instagram is a little more less warmy leads, so to say. But overall, like I said at the very beginning of this, he has a Facebook group page that he started off. He was very strategic about his Facebook page. He was very strategic about creating an Instagram, and he actually did it quite well. He has his normal page. He has about, I think it was 4 million, that's about 6 million followers. And on his TB12 page, Instagram page, he has about 344K. With that said, he did a very good job at utilizing and keeping his Tom Brady page, Tom Brady, and keeping it more for his lifestyle brand and what he's trying to do. He should leverage that platform a little bit more, like his Facebook page, and leverage people over into his TB12 side of his business, and try to bring some of those fans over and doing 1 or 2 teaser posts when it comes to his brand on his personal page, and even utilizing his personal and his what's-it-called page to get people to go to the website. I mean, that's part of his brand, that's part of him, so there's no reason showcasing it to get people to go to the website. He could get a potentially way more leads and way more people through the funnel of purchasing his products if he was able to do that. But overall, he has a lot of following. I think if he optimized this a little more and he did a little strategy, that he would be able to even double his followers on both platforms very easily. But overall, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. I'm being a little more, giving this one a little bit of a higher number because he strategically went through and he had a strategy in place when it comes to creating a Facebook group, leveraging that, doing a live channel and bringing people over into his Instagram, and then moving that over to his TB12 page. So overall, let's count that up. So we have a 3, a 2, which is 5. So overall, we have a 12 out of 20 for his brand. Isn't bad. 12 out of 20 isn't bad. I would say that overall, that 12 out of 20 is some marketing activities underway, some cohesive approach exists, but there's definitely more he can do. How we could improve this: work on revamping the logo a little bit, maybe even adding the name to it on a lot of their collateral and a lot of the stuff they create, and making sure that it's a little more simplistic when it comes to, and iconic when it comes to how it would look on smaller forms, so that people could recognize it a lot easier. With his website, I might take a step back. You don't have to redevelop the website, but I might take a step back and I might do some user experience, do a sitemap, create some keyword research around that sitemap and around those pages, and do some research on how those pages look from a more non-design aspect before you kind of dive into the design. Online presence, I'd probably focus a little bit more on the SEO and the paid advertisement at this point, and kind of try to focus on the content written in the actual website to be more focused around local SEO and SEO, kind of focus from the local and move up. He is a patriot first and foremost in Foxborough, so really leverage that when it comes to his local SEO, and then broaden that out over time, and I think that will really help him affect how he's trying to build his brand from that aspect. So a 12 out of 20, not bad. 15 or higher is probably when you're doing great, and under, I say 8, is probably when you're not doing that great. So 12 out of 20, pretty good. And that's my analysis of Tom Brady and TB12. Again, this is Zach with Creative Sports Marketing Radio, where business is our sport.